All right, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm back in action with Joe.
Hello.
And Bucky.
Hey, hello.
As we discuss something that, grant you, Pixels ruined a little bit up, and I kind of think they disappointed, but I think we should still move forward with the top retro games that we think would make good movies. Now, this is something that we have been talking about. We actually made up this list. I can't remember. I think it was back in summer of 2015. You know,
I don't remember when it was.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I forgot we made it up.
Yeah! So, we actually made some changes. Oh, and I just thought of one game that we could add to it now, but it not really work. Kind of does, kind of doesn't. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's just get right into it. Now, first off, I want you to know these games are actually in no particular order, really. There's really no rhyme or reason to them. However, the last game is definitely the number one pick. You'll see what it is, and you'll understand why I say that. But for the most part, the first top three are in order. But after that, the top three are actually our personal ones. Okay? And the number one is the only one that makes a difference. So let's just get right into it. One game that we would love to see made into a movie, of course, is Frogger. Okay? Because just everyone loved playing it.
Except for the turtle things, because the damn things kept going underwater when I was on them.
Well, that's why you jump off them onto logs as soon as you can, you know. But yeah, I mean, Frogger, now grant you, this is not really movie material. It probably has to be an animated version. 1 hour spent setting up why he has to cross the road.
Well, I don't know. They used to have that cartoon. Do you remember that?
A little bit, yeah.
The Saturday Supercade Frogger.
And do you think they should take like one of those stories and make it into the movie?
I don't know. It's pretty dated, being back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. They'd probably have to upgrade it a little bit.
Because back in those today's audiences, you have to simplify the stories, you know.
Or we also give him an intense motivation to cross the street. Oh, and of course, crossing the street would have to be his greatest fear. But when his girlfriend's in danger or something like that, he finds the strength to cross the street.
And kind of like how they have, like, instead of just Frogger, they'll have Frogger Part 1, where he crosses the street, and then Frogger Part 2, where he crosses the river.
Oh, that's true.
There you go.
And of course, he'll be bullied, and guess who's going to be bullying him?
The crocodile?
No, the turtles.
Oh.
Because he gets on their back, and what do the turtles do?
They dive?
They go underwater.
Yeah.
But why would that kill a frog?
I never got that.
It's like, so he can't just swim to the next turtle or something?
I mean, I get when he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I always love that. Sometimes I get hit on purpose just to hear the kaplunk.
And the whole poison thing come up, the sign that you died.
Yeah.
Of course, remember, kids, in Frogger, go for the far left one first or as early as possible. Don't go for the middle ones. They're easy.
Yeah, try to do the hard ones first.
Yeah, get the hard one done first. That's our PSA for today. All right, next up, Choplifter. All right, now this one is one of my preferred. I played it. Did you guys even play this game?
I never have.
This is one of the first console games I ever played because it was on my Commodore 64. But come on, it's a very good premise.
Commodore 64? How old are you?
41. But anyway, it's a good premise. You basically have this helicopter that goes out to rescue people, you know? And of course you have the people running to the helicopter. You could leave some behind. You can actually shoot some of them too.
I heard you could shoot them.
Yeah, you could shoot them if you wanted to. But you had all these enemies and stuff. And of course you could shoot them too. But you had to be above them, which made the plane very hard to hit, let me tell you. But a fun game, a cool game. It's been remade numerous times. It's on the PS3, believe it or not. I mean, I think this is one of the, if not the oldest game to still be playing in today's world, you know? Nobody really plays Pong as much anymore.
Well, you get the first test drive on, I think it was PS2. That one has Pong. The load screens were so long, you had to play Pong.
Okay. But I mean, how could you go wrong with something like this? You're basically rescuing people in a chopper. That makes for a pretty interesting story. Next up, Donkey Kong. All right, pop quiz, hotshots. What is the name of the girl in Donkey Kong?
Isn't it Pauline?
Bucky?
I think it's Pauline.
And your answer is correct! Yeah, Mario, you see, people never realize this. Mario was quite the swinger. You know, people always think that he is all about Princess Peach, but there was Pauline. Who was the other one before Peach?
Princess Toadstool.
Toadstool, yeah. So Mario got around. Why was she named after? Why was she named Pauline? Because she was named after the cereal, not the one you eat, but the old-fashioned movies where it was the perils of Pauline. She was all. It was it was kind of like at the end she was always in some sort of peril or something. Now that's a movie they can really remake. It's been long enough. I think the last one was remade like back in the 80s.
The one I like about this is in this one game, it's portrayed Donkey Kong as the bad guy.
Yes.
When they did when they made it into a cartoon, though, Donkey Kong was just kind of like he wasn't really mean or evil. He was out there. Mario was still trying to catch him, I believe.
Right.
But he was just trying to be
and
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, in later ones, Donkey Kong became the hero, and Mario became the villain, trying to capture him, sending off those traps. So here's the next question. And Bucky, you'll start. Donkey Kong the movie. Should Donkey Kong be the hero or the villain?
I honestly think the villain, only because I haven't played that many Mario games.
Okay.
So I only know this, Super Mario Brothers, and Mario. Let's face it, he's always the main character.
Right.
And so I can't picture Donkey Kong as a main character.
One interesting story about Donkey Kong: when Nintendo put this game out, Universal Studios had their lawyers call Nintendo, telling them that they should pay all profits and to Universal Studios because they were infringing on the Universal Studio right to
King Kong.
King Kong. Okay, they eventually got to sit down, and Nintendo told Universal Studios, "We are not going to be paying you a cent." You know why? Because a few years earlier, Universal Studios had won a case where they basically argued that King Kong was public domain. Somebody else was suing Universal Studios, but they argued that it was public domain, so they had the right to use it. So that's why Nintendo got to keep all the profits and everything. So interesting little side note there. All right, next up, Adventure. Now, legend has it, this is one of the first ever, how do I describe it? Mission games.
Yeah.
Where you went around. Guys, let me tell you something.
Look at those graphics.
Graphics. The guy who made this, again, legend has it, rumor has it, I believe I'm correct, that the guy who made it took him a year to make this game.
It's almost like looking at a movie right now.
Yeah. Well, it has everything you need. It's got the adventurer going in. He's got to collect things. He's got to save someone, right? And collect treasure and everything. It's all the movie practically makes itself.
Right, actually, he's not saving anyone.
Okay, he's just going in there to go through.
Basically, get the chalice.
Get the chalice. Okay.
Which is in one of the castles.
Actually, it's in a palace.
Chalice in the palace.
Sorry. So, moving right along.
I don't know why he has to bring up all this ballast. But anyway, it's like there was also dragons. There was a green dragon, a yellow dragon, and a red dragon.
Okay.
And the green dragon would move very slow. Yellow dragon a little bit faster, and red dragon was pretty much even with you.
Could you ever fight them?
You have to kill them. There's a sword that's somewhere in the game that you have to get. And the thing is, I remember, if you remember this on the Atari had what they called an easy setting, or actually no, the game had an easy setting, a medium setting, and a
hard setting. I didn't know Atari games had that.
This game did.
Okay.
In the easy setting, you only had 2 castles and 2 dragons.
Oh, gotcha.
And the sword was literally right next to you in the opening screen. So it pretty much handed you the game.
Right. Well,
you were done in like 30 seconds.
Which was important because, remember, this was Atari. There were no...
In the medium setting...
There were no saves in Atari.
In the medium setting, there were 3 dragons. There were more castles to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bat that would come along and steal random stuff. And you'd be flying, and that would always have something.
Okay.
And you would trade off sporadically throughout the game.
Nice.
And they also introduced the bridge in the game, which lets you go through a wall in one of the mazy type rooms.
Mm-hmm.
and also a magnet that would attract metal things.
Wow.
That were on a screen, that were anywhere on the screen, would come floating to the magnet.
And was this not one of the first times this was done in video games? I think this was the first time.
I don't know.
The idea that you had story elements like that? I mean, for the most part, everything else was really simple, just running around.
Yeah, getting a score.
Oh, yeah, and I did find out there was a minor glitch in the game, too, that the developer of the game actually had what they called a hidden room, which I actually found out the hard way by accident.
Well, this was definitely a first for this one then, too.
Because the only way I found it is that I accidentally got eaten by the dragon while holding a sword. Okay?
Okay.
So inside the dragon, I stabbed it and killed it.
And it brought you to the hidden room.
The bat stole the dead dragon and dropped me off in the hidden room.
How does a bat take a dead dragon?
It takes literally anything in the game.
Even a dragon? Okay, it must have been a pretty big bat then.
Yeah, I've even seen it take one of the live dragons.
And tell me this does not really make itself into a game.
I think it does.
It really does.
I mean, you can't go wrong with dragons.
Exactly. And, it's like, you just gotta wonder what's taking so long with some of these, I mean, would this not be almost a top choice right here?
Not really, but there's a few that are just more of personal interest to me, but, I can understand why people would like this.
I mean, and you know what? The knight would be walking around and guess what would be on his chest plate? A yellow square.
Oh.
Because remember, kids, for those of you who might be too young to really know what we're talking about, see that yellow square at the beginning of that black cage? That's the player. That's what you moved around. Okay, that was top graphics back in the day.
That is a pretty good looking key.
Exactly. Next one, Pitfall. Now,
one of my favorite games as a kid.
Exactly. Now, of course, what does everyone want to call Pitfall?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, exactly. Even though, technically, I think, Pitfall came, Indiana Jones came first. They did make an updated version of Pitfall, and they gave Pitfall Harry more of a funny character, The one thing that gets me about the way they made Pitfall, and I like that game, okay? I like the game a lot. Both this older version and the reboot of it. But the thing was, it was outdated comedy, He was the goofy hero. He knew his stuff, but he was like socially awkward and said things that didn't always fit, but still pretty intelligent and, saved the day at the end, And if you haven't played the reboot yet, you should. It was really funny. But was this not one of our favorite games growing up as kids?
I've only played it a few times. I can't really say.
I really, like I said, one of my favorites. One thing people didn't realize with this game is they would always go the way they were facing. But one of the secrets I found, you go backwards, and then that way, if you die, because basically it's just a big loop.
Yeah.
If you die, you respawn,
fall to the left.
You'll fall past where you died.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go over that.
But that's not the best part. The best part is if you when you first start the game, if you immediately go to the left, guess what's waiting for you there?
A fire.
No, gold.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, gold right away. So you score like almost immediately if you just go to the left. But yeah, because for me the hardest part was jumping on those alligators.
Yeah.
Some
you have
people
to step on the eyes.
Yeah, some people could jump boom boom boom, but for the most part, if you were just off those eyes by just a little bit, you fell right into the mouth.
Yep, you couldn't go in the water and you couldn't go in their mouth.
But I mean, would you think that if you could make this okay, question, comedy or serious, what would you want from Pitfall Harry?
Something like this, more serious.
Yeah, more serious with a little comedy.
Mm-hmm.
They made it. This was one that they made into a cartoon on Saturday Supercade.
Yes.
Where not one of my favorite ones, but I would say it's more serious.
Yeah. Go try to go more serious this time.
Right.
It seems natural to want to put it in a more comedic setting, but maybe after that one didn't do so well, maybe try again with a more serious setting. Even though the recent Pitfall was really was actually pretty good. It was interesting listening to him talk, because he gave him kind of a goofier tone of voice than you would expect sometimes. All right, next up, Spy Hunter. Now this one makes me mad because they were going to make a movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson starring in this movie. Okay, not a very hard premise. You're driving a car the whole time, but it's a car, spy car. The spy gadget, James Bond, Bucky.
Popularized.
Thank you. Yes. So there's no reason this shouldn't be made into a movie. And you have it all. You got the Knight Rider truck. You've got helicopters coming out to get you. You got these cars that had their own. You got one that was bulletproof. One that had little spikes that came out of the tires that would kill you. And of course you had all the civilians you were killing throughout the whole thing.
I still don't know how to get rid of the bulletproof car.
Basically it's like a muscle hit. You get bang him to the side of the road. That's the only way. I think that also Oil Slick, I think, did it, but it was actually very hard to get in. The one problem I had with this game, they always came from behind.
Yeah, because you're at the bottom again. You're doing the bottom to the top.
Yeah. Right? And they always came from behind you, and your gun was in the front of you, and you rarely got up to them. Bucky, do you ever play this game?
Oh, quite a few times.
Yeah.
This was classic.
Yeah, what were some of your favorite gadgets and stuff?
I'm not sure about gadgets. I just remember always seeing the truck on the side of the road and then pulling up and then getting like the oil slick, power up or whatnot, and then going back on the road. And so
exactly.
Yeah, I used to love the truck because it wasn't anything big. It's just you see it, you go for it.
Well, you had to push the button to call it.
Yeah.
And everything. This is one of those I'm really shocked did not come sooner, because this particular game is just, we were already making James Bond movies since before it came out. I mean, that's pretty much what made it, They were basing these cars off of the Bond gadgets.
Right.
So why we still haven't had it yet? And, I was really mad. Like I said, they tried to make one, and they made a video game instead, and the video game really tanked.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was the big mistake. And I've never played... But if you ever look around at some of the, I think it's PS3 still, one of the earlier PS3 games, if you ever see Spy Hunter with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, that was supposed to be a movie, And I felt really mad that they didn't make that happen. Next up, okay, these.
Now this I totally see.
You gotta admit, they already have the story and everything, because these were they were practically movies themselves. They were cartoons.
Yeah.
Right. Their graphics, and these were very frustrating games to play because you had to time it just right, But then they would just play the segment of the clip for you, And here you got a very impressive story. You have Space Ace, who is this really hunky guy, but he gets hit with the Infanto Ray, which turns him into a boy, and he's got to rescue his girlfriend and save the universe. And the characterization speaks for itself. Yeah,
this was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid.
And it's got everything you could ask for. Now, grant you, the heroine in this movie wasn't exactly the model, female role model, but it still lent to the theme of the story, which was a comedy, a goofy comedy. Grant you, back in the 80s, a movie like this would have fit right in. It would have done gangbusters, I still think it still has potential. Bucky, what do you think? Yes.
I
don't nod. They can't see you nod.
No, the funny thing is I never really got into Space Ace. I mean, I know about it. I know Dragon's Lair better. And so...
Well, they're made by the same company, so let's just get right into it. Yes, Dragon's Lair.
Right. Dirk the Daring.
Exactly. Again, goofy hero. A heroine. let's call a spade for, shall we? A sexy heroine. Princess Daphne was pretty hot. You know.
And it's like last I heard during Phoenix Comic-Con, FanFest, is that they are trying to make an actual, bring it back like in a movie form, animated, which I think would be awesome. You know what? That would be easy to make. I would love to see live action versions of this, though. These guys have a Don Knotts quality. It's like, I'm trying to think who you would cast. Nowadays, it's hard to say. We don't have any
top comedians who have this kind of goofiness. Like I said, it was a Don Knotts quality, but even Don Knotts doesn't fit this role well enough.
Well, Don Knotts is dead, so
that's another problem we're having.
Yeah, that's right. He is. It's Tim Conway that's still alive. I got all mixed up.
But I mean, yeah, we have this very goofy humor, which I think would play well today if you gave it a chance. You know.
I mean, maybe.
I'm sure someone will be offended by something.
But that goes without saying nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, they put an eye on top of it. Obviously, that's their left eye. Why can't they use their right eye, for crying out loud?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Dirk to Darien, these games, I only got into these games when I could get it on my Wii. Because let me tell you, these 8-year quarters like nobody business. They weren't 25 cents to play either. These were like $1 to play. If I'm not mistaken.
I remember them. Yeah, they were expensive, and you're right. They took just a Wii game.
Yeah,
it took us forever to get through it because
you had to be perfect.
Yeah,
with the time. I mean, to be honest, the one mistake I made with this game was I tried to treat this game like any other game. You move the character left to right, and you slash your sword whenever you wanted to, but that's not what it was. This was a timing game. All it was a bunch of clips. And if you moved it in the right direction, it played one clip. And if you moved it into the other direction, it played the other clip. And I didn't wrap my head around that until it was too late.
Yeah, the other clip was usually you getting fried or something.
Yeah. But I mean, this was a...
or crashing into a wall.
Or getting squeezed by a snake.
Yeah.
I mean, or the worst that I see, especially this one happened during the sequel, the Time Machine one, where Dirk would pull out... If you try to battle your mother-in-law or someone, he would pull out his sword and she would just bash him with a rolling pin the whole time, and that happened all the time to me. It took me a long time to figure out that one, but they have some really funny elements, really funny. Next one. Okay, now we're entering the one with, this is our personal favorite, and Joe wanted Q-Bert.
I love Q-Bert as a kid. It's like, especially because it was all about the pyramid. You have to jump on each top to change the color until you had to avoid the snake, and you had to avoid the warthog.
That's not why we loved Q-Bert. The reason...
It was his nose?
No, it was his language. The fact that if he got hit, he would swear. Now, great, Q-Bert, the game, has been banned in his native planet because of the language he uses when he gets hit. It's really offensive language. For us, it's just it's just like that. Yeah. Something like that. But on Q-Bert's whole, it's dirty.
This was another one, and they did clean it up for the TV. It was part of the Saturday Supercade, where they put Q-Bert and all his friends as 50s people.
Yeah, going to college, wasn't he?
He had like the Leatherman jacket. Yeah. Coily had the snake had the biker jacket with the biker hat.
How does he get a jacket on? He's a snake.
How does he
keep it on?
But I just remember the scene where Q-Bert's hopping. And Coily's chasing him, and Q-Bert hops on a manhole cover. Because remember the game they had the disc?
Yes!
He hops on a manhole cover, and the manhole cover takes off, and Coily falls in the sewer.
Yeah. And, but I mean, what was their catchphrase with that, with the song? Be cool with the Q-Bert or something like that? Yeah. It was... Now, of course, this is one of those things that got ruined with Pixels. Personally, Q-Bert was one of the best things in Pixels until the very end. Then it just got nasty.
I just thought, gameplay-wise, it was one of those different ones.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, especially the one where when you hopped on the pad, it would change color, and then if you hopped on it again, it would change again. So you had to get them all to match.
So there's 3 colors.
Yes.
Yeah, but there were some where you had to get them twice to get them to the final color. But there's some that no matter how many times you hopped on it, the color would change.
Yeah.
So as you're avoiding the snake, it would keep changing color. So it was really hard to get them all to
match. I remember. I think I made it up to like 2 stages above that.
Q-Bert had some really hard levels because the first one was one color, easy peasy, just hop on it.
Yep.
Then you had to hop on it twice, but if you hopped on it even a third time, it wouldn't change again.
Yep.
But then it was a third color, and if you hopped on it once, you got a color, then you have to hop on it twice to get the right color. But if you hopped on it a third time, you went back to the original color.
Yeah.
And then you had this one guy. We call him the Bastard. He's this green guy with his hair all slicked back. If he went running down the path it went all back to the original color.
Oh yeah, he was. So you had to constantly.
Now you had the red balls to worry about too.
Yeah, the red ones they would kill you. I think.
Yeah, but the green ball would help you because it would freeze time.
Yeah, it was.
They did do a reboot of Q-Bert last year, or 2014, I believe, around there. It was actually good because you got to play the arcade version, which is what people want. The newer version was nice. It had some nice looks to it, but it's so hard to get those angles right on a PS3 controller.
Yeah,
you find yourself falling. They split it, so you have like the line down the side and some holes in the middle. And you fall down those holes in the middle all the time because you just can't get those ones right. But question about Q-Bert, the movie: would you set it on Earth or would you set it on Q-Bert's home planet?
I would do it on his home planet.
I would want to too. Because we all remember what happened with Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, when they brought him to Earth.
Yes. And
that was an awesome movie.
It could work.
But you know what? The problem was the Earthlings got in the way. You just wanted to see He-Man and his group fighting Skeletor and his group. You didn't want to see Courtney Cox, because back in the day, nobody knew who she was. And the whole fish out of water story just didn't mesh.
Oh, I love fish out of water stories.
They can be good, but with He-Man, it just didn't fly as well.
Yeah, it would have been better on Eternia.
Yeah. Which, by the way, He-Man is something they are rebooting. And I saw Battle Cat. Battle Cat actually looks pretty good. Next up, Bucky's favorite choice.
One of my favorite choices, yes.
And how could this not be a good choice? You have it all. You have knights flying around on...
flying ostriches.
Flying ostriches.
Exactly.
How could this not work?
Right. I mean, this is one of my favorite arcade games because it's like... I mean, as you can see on the picture here, is that the red lava, during the later stages, if you actually flew too low, a red hand would form and it would try grabbing you and pulling you down.
Exactly.
So it got much more difficult. And of course, there was this one stage. I'm not sure if you all played Joust.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, me too.
Remember this one stage where all you see are the eggs? And you have to collect as many eggs as possible within a time frame.
Oh, okay, right,
and then they start hatching. If you don't collect them all, whatever you don't collect, you have to defeat them.
Well, you also have the pterodactyl bird.
Yeah, and the thing is, I still have yet to learn how it... Because the thing is, I remember reading something that it's quote-unquote unbeatable.
Well, I don't think... you're right. The pterodactyl bird is just supposed to fly by. And...
Well, it attacks you. It tries, like... a straight shot of attacking you, so you can either avoid it, or I still haven't found any way if there actually is a way to defeat it.
Okay.
But still, I mean, to me, this was just a fun game that, I can easily see this being made into a movie with factions, where,
Well, exactly. It's a sword and sorcerer movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you got magic, and you got this cool element of these people flying.
What's really funny is that when I first started playing this, I was such a little kid. I didn't know that they were people on ostriches. I thought they were just birds with with long beaks or something. I didn't really understand the animation back then.
Well, believe me, it was really hard because when Bucky talks about the advanced levels, those are levels I never actually made it to. Okay, because I couldn't figure out the game either. But this
is like the original Flappy Birds.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
You literally had to keep on flapping your wings in order to fly.
You had to go up and attack people.
Now we really hope that most of these are being made into a movie. Of course, one thing that studios are going to look at is pixels and be like, oh no, these are box office poison. But before we get to the anything more about Joust before we move on to the next one?
I actually, one of the things I think of is how popular it actually did become. It was actually parodied, or not parodied, but it was used in a Mortal Kombat game.
Really?
Yeah, it was one. Remember Shang Tsung? He could transform. I think it was him. I think it was Friendship or something. He turned into one of the birds.
Really?
Yeah, and he
I did not
across
know
the stage.
That. For the Friendship one, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I remember watching that on some.
These are very popular games, Yeah.
One game that you don't have pictured here, and it's like I just thought of it as we were doing this, is that Tapper.
Oh, yes!
I mean, the thing is, first of all, you gotta, if it's gonna be made to a movie, you gotta give it that Cheers bar scene familiarity to it. And then, it's like, you can go to town on that. I'm sorry. It's like, you can turn that into a drinking game, essentially.
Exactly. And basically, it's a sports game, ultimately, because all it is this one guy, he's got to serve all these people. And why not make that a competition between him and some other bartenders?
Right. And it's like, for those that haven't played the game, you literally, bartender, you get like 4 bars where he's sliding beers down to people to serve them. If one of the people at the bar doesn't get their beer in time, they grab you and slide you down the bar. And it's like,
that was the interesting thing about Tavern. There were many ways to lose the game. One, if someone got to the end of the bar without being served, that was one. What was another way you could lose the game?
Throw an extra beer down.
If you throw an extra beer and no one is there to catch it, it falls off, you lose.
And then he does the little quiver dance. And then the other one is when they throw the beers back, the empty glasses back, you have to catch them.
They catch that.
So you're constantly going up and down and trying to fill stuff up.
What's funny is one thing I loved about the game was there's one bonus round where it has 10 beer cans all lined up. And this one guy shakes 9 of them up randomly and then does like a 3-card Monty type of thing with all 10 cans, and only one of them's not shaken. And if you have to find the one that's not shaken up.
Right, exactly. And of course, if you choose wrong,
you get sprayed in the face.
Exactly.
I love that bonus. I love the bonus round more than the movie, more than the game itself. It was just so hilarious.
I think that could go into the movie. The can dancers, when you get the tip, remember that?
Yes.
You grab the tip and then the girls start dancing, so some of the patrons will stop advancing to watch the show.
Oh,
the other cool part were all the different settings. The first setting was a cowboy bar. The second setting was a sports arena. The next setting was a punk bar.
Oh.
And one of the last settings, I don't know if you ever got past this, but it was space aliens.
No, never made it that far.
Yeah, there were space aliens.
That'd be a good after the credits scene. You have the first 3 bars competing.
Yeah.
And then in the last one, you bring in the guy from the space aliens.
But since Bucky, you did bring this up, let's keep going. Are there any other honorable mentions? Things we forgot to put in? Because I can think of one right now. This one would be the perfect movie, almost. Berserker.
I was just thinking of that one.
Because you got these robots that you got to blow away. And of course, you got these enemies. But there's one thing you cannot kill.
That's the smiley face guy.
The smiley face guy. And I don't think you can touch the walls either.
No, you can't touch the people, the walls, or the smiley face.
Right.
I got another good one.
Yes.
720.
Oh,
skate or die.
Oh God! Just imagine the CG for the bees alone. All the different.
things. Exactly.
The scissors, the mallet.
Yeah, it was like really probably the most popular skateboarding video games.
Oh, I blew through my allowance.
Oh, exactly. It was just because it was like one of the first almost open world ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to get a ticket or get the money to get a ticket to go to a theme park to earn medals and. The stick, I love that. How it didn't have a standard joystick.
Also, last mention before you continue, Paperboy.
Oh, of course. Now, okay, they made a movie called Paperboy. It's not based off the video game. I boycott that movie because they take the title of a great game and they make some silly movie. It doesn't even involve a paperboy, from what I understand.
Yeah, pretty much the game of Paperboy involved you as a paperboy on your bike delivering newspapers. And you had to deliver them to the subscription houses. And there were some houses on the street that were not subscribers. So you actually got points for destroying their house with newspapers.
Right. Oh, yeah. I remember the one with the headstones in the front yard.
But yeah. There were like a lot of things that you could do with your newspapers. It's like you'll see like 2 people duking it out on the street.
Knock them out.
And you can like literally throw your newspaper at one of them and the other one will be like, I won!
Yeah.
If they did a movie, that has to be in the movie.
Yeah.
Driving by and just whacking someone with a newspaper.
You see a guy trying to break into a house?
Yeah.
You knock him out.
Yeah, throw a newspaper.
And you get extra points if you actually get it in the mailbox.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you do take too long, there's sometimes like with the, you'll pass like a doghouse with eyes peeking out of the doghouse.
Yeah.
Take too long, the dog will chase you. Take too long, I believe like 720, bees will chase you.
And then remember the stunt track.
Yeah, it's like if you make it in time, you make it to the stunt track where you literally Best thing you can do, breeze through that as fast as you can. Don't worry about newspapers. Don't worry. Just
you get points if you hit the targets, but yeah, you just try and get over. Make sure you're going fast enough when you hit the ramp to get over the river, or else you'll go in the drink.
Right.
Many a time I saw the Paperboy fired screen.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, the one problem about these games was that they just kept going and going because they really didn't have a story per se. They just kept going until you died.
This was one of those things. Yeah,
and they got harder until you died.
High score.
Yeah, and then the high score was what it was all about. I mean, even Bucky. What was it? That one game where there was a lot of bucks. There was one Bud. Who was Bud again? Who beat you?
No one beat me. It was a typo.
But I think I thought with that game you only got to second place.
Like, I only got to second place.
Yeah.
I didn't get first place.
But that said,
that's not important who got first.
Another game that would make really good is Robotrix. Robotics?
Never played that.
It basically, and in the same vein, because these were the exact same game, to be honest, Smash TV. Smash TV was like the Running Man, only now you had a gun.
Yeah,
you had to shoot all these things.
The cool thing about Smash was it was, I think, one of the few games where you didn't have a button. You had two joysticks.
Yeah, just two joysticks. Same with robotics.
Button was might have been on or no, it was just one button. One joystick was where you shoot, and the other one was where you run.
Right.
Speaking of two controllers, do you remember Crazy Climber?
No.
No, yeah, I don't remember that one.
It was basically you were a guy on the side of a building. You literally had to climb up the side of a building using window ledges.
Okay. Oh, okay. Now I remember that a little bit. Yes.
And then when you had people that were trying to stop you by dropping flower pots on you, and so you moved to the side, but you got to move back. And then when you get up near the very top, there's a King Kong type of character who was literally punching, and you got to time it right to get on through.
Oh, you know what? You just reminded me of another great one. Now this one though, they are making a
Rampage.
Yes. Yes. How could you? You know what though? I'll tell you something. When those doctors get all shot up and everything, I don't want to see a single one of them die. You know what I want to see?
You want us to shrink back down naked?
Shrink back down and naked, and be like, ah,
And why is it that Godzilla was the only female one?
She was the lizard. There was a wolf and an ape.
I liked the monkey. He was mine.
The wolf was mine.
Playing the ping pong with the trolley car.
Oh yeah, that was fun too.
There's
so much. I mean, the thing is, this is like the one thing that I would actually encourage Michael Bay to do.
Yeah.
Only because of the destruction that's involved.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that there has to be a moment where they have to grab someone and eat them.
Right.
And they have to grab a toaster. Or a sign, the electronic.
Oh yeah, they punch it.
They gotta, See, the thing is, they try to make these movies so serious. It wouldn't hurt to have a moment of silliness where they have the electricity, have the skeleton shown, you know, and have the military come in and everything. But yeah, Rampage, awesome choice. Anything else before we move on?
I'm racking my brain.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
There's one other that I thought of, but now I can't remember it. But let's move on to this next one. This one, we saw Joe's, it was Q-Bert. We saw Bucky's, it was Joust. My personal one, my favorite game of all time. I can't count the number of quarters I wasted on elevator action. This is a fun game. And I'll tell you what made it cool was the variety. If there's anything that makes me mad about the reboot, okay? If you jump, you don't do the jump kick like you used to in this game. Like, you could kill those bad guys in two ways. You either shot them, more than two ways. You either shot them or you jump kicked them. And this movie here, pretty much, you start the movie like you start the game. It's all self-explanatory. You're the hero. You're going to go rescue the secret documents. You have clones, so everyone looks alike, and you have three ways of killing them. You jump kick them. More than three ways. You can jump kick them. You can shoot them. You can shoot out one of the lights and drop the lights on top of them. You can trick them to falling off the elevator or moving around so they get off and fall down to their deaths. Or you can squash them with an elevator. Okay? It has great variety, a great character. Of course, he's got to wear red shoes. you know. But, you know, in the reboot, they have all these extra special ways for him to deal with things. They have bombs and machine guns and everything. But Elevator Action was just a fun game. And for me, the best part about Elevator Action, remember how in Pixels, if you did see Pixels, I feel sorry for you, but if you did not see Pixels, Adam Sandler became a genius at these video games because they always followed the same pattern, and you had to watch out for the pattern. Well, this game really didn't have much of a pattern. It's very hard to, because you never knew which door a bad guy was going to come out of.
That does remind me of another video game similar in a way.
What's that?
Rolling Thunder.
I remember that one.
Yes!
Basically, they weren't Klansmen, but they were Klansmen.
They were all dressed in these like hazardous waste suits.
They were in these purple hoods and green T-shirts and boots, and it's like, if not, I mean, the color was different, but to me, I always thought they were Klansmen in a way.
Well, they had the look,
right?
You know,
and so basically, you're a guy with a gun, and you basically just shot them and tried escaping, and you know.
Yeah. Well, I think in that one you had to go stop the big boss.
And they always came out of the doors.
Yes.
You know, and that's one of the, and kind of like Elevator Action, you didn't know whether you, and that's where you also got, where you got extra bullets, is you had to go into one of the doors.
Right. No, Rolling Thunder, another video game that just totally bankrupted me from all the quarters. Right. I put in. What's funny is that Elevator Action was just so straightforward. You know, you just kept going into different buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
And the best part was when you got down to the lower levels. You know, the first time it's just like this one elevator, but as time goes on, you get like these multiple elevators and all this variety and everything. Just lends itself to making a movie out of it, you know. But now, let's move on to the number one. Okay. Like I said, there's no really order to these movies, but this number one is the one that fans have been begging for, but let's be honest, you're not going to get it, okay? It's The Legend of Zelda, all right? And, you know, if there's anything that makes me worried about making The Legend of Zelda movie is that back in the day, it was a pretty simple premise. You ran around, you killed the bad guys to save the princess by collecting the Triforce. Easy. But there is now so much history that people will want to be like, okay, we're going to make this movie, but we're going to make sure we add in this from Majora's Mask and this from Wind Waker and give him this, and this. If you're going to make a Zelda movie, you got to keep it simple, okay?
Yeah, I mean, look at Zelda there, you know?
That's Link! That is Link's number one pet peeve.
I know, I'm kidding. I know his name is Link, but you always see someone dressed like that at Comic-Con.
You know, you do have to wonder, though, why really is it called The Legend of Zelda if Link is the hero? You know, one of the best things about Link, and Bucky, tell me if Adventure did this too. The first Zelda, and according to the people, the new Zelda that's coming out here, okay, they're extremely open world environments. With this Link, within the first Zelda game, you could enter any dungeon at any time. Now, sometimes you weren't ready because there was a lot of bad guys and all that. Other times,
sometimes you need like a special item from another dungeon.
Exactly, just to get in, just to go much further, you know. But sometimes you did have somebody stopping you at the gate saying, don't go any further, you need more pieces of the Triforce before you can go forward. Also, if memory serves, I don't think the initial bad guy was not Ganon. It was Ganondorf, I believe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. But
the only Zelda I've beaten was Wind Waker.
Oh really? You never beat Ocarina of Time?
Never beat Ocarina of Time, but Ocarina of Time is probably my favorite Zelda.
Oh, still to this day. Well, for me, it's between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
I never played Majora's Mask because I heard it's like really hard, even with a strategy guide.
No, it's actually not. Let me just tell you what happens. Okay, at Majora's Mask, when you finally go up to the final boss, you have to play as the top four masks. Okay, water, the rolling guy, and somebody else. But the rolling guy had the hardest ever in a video game. You were basically got yourself into a ball and you rolled real fast, okay? And there's this one trail that you have got to follow, which is like real skinny. Meaning that if you just geared off a little bit, you would fall off. And you had to hit this part just right. When you're rolling, you got to hit this corner. Because like I said, you're on this tightrope. And you got to go all the way forward and then all the way to the right. Just right. And if you miss it, even by a hair, you go down. You die. And that's what everyone died from. I beat Majora's Mask once. Only once, okay? And it was a real... But the Majora's Mask could be its own movie, you know? But, you know, the one thing filmmakers always want to do, if they make a movie, it's like, okay, we're just going to throw in everything we can from the whole myth. We're just going to do the whole story. To be honest, that's where Daredevil really went wrong. In 2003, I think it was, with Ben Affleck. They tried to put everything into the movie all at once, and it just didn't fit. And if you could just take your time and take it slow. But we all know the real one reason Nintendo will never let their property be made into a movie again, it's because...
Super Mario Brothers?
Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers, they say, is the first video game ever turned into a movie, and it sucked big time because the filmmakers just couldn't translate it properly. I would want to say that they would do a better job this time, but I don't think so.
Super Mario, though, didn't really... I mean, you can tell just by playing it, it's not going to be your typical movie. Whereas Zelda could be. Zelda could be an adventure movie.
Well, think about it, though. A lot of made for video games turned movies have that. Blood Rain had that. Look what... Okay.
That was the thing where they put too much. They tried to put everything into the first movie, and it didn't work.
So, basically, what we're saying here in this whole podcast is contact Uwe Boll. Tell him there's more movies to be made. You can slap me for that.
Afterwards.
Okay, no. But yes, no, we do not want Uwe Boll to ruin another franchise. Before we go, though, guys, any other video games?
The only one I could think of was to be video game made into a movie, Shinobi.
Oh, is that the ninja one?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The one scene they got to do is they got to do the first person where he's throwing the throwing stars.
Right.
The bonus rounds. Yeah, that's got to go into the movie somewhere where he's just like he's walking down the hall and ninjas are jumping out and you just see first person with the throwing stars going.
Right. No, and you know what? That one's pretty easy. A ninja has got to stop some bad ninjas from doing a terrorist attack at the airport.
Exactly.
You know? See, the thing is that ultimately it doesn't really take a lot to turn these into movies, and yet somehow Hollywood continues to screw it up over and over again. But hopefully one day, this year, it's 2016, our hopes fall on Warcraft.
Yeah.
That Warcraft could actually be a decent movie. The only reason I wanted to make it is so that at least we can have one good video game turned movie. So before we go...
That's a whole different podcast altogether.
Yeah, we're going to switch it just for 1 second. Can anyone name a movie that is based off a video game that was actually good? Or that you liked? For me, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the first Mortal Kombat.
It was a really good movie. You know? It was really fair. Bucky, have you seen any movies based off of video games that you liked?
Tron.
Oh, yes! Now, Tron was back in the day when they would release the video game and the movie together. You know, I think, which came first?
The egg.
No. I mean, Tron, either the movie or the video game. But yeah, that was a really good. That's a good one right there. The original Tron, not the.
I actually were one of the few people that actually liked Tron Legacy. I seriously did.
It could have been.
It could have been better, but it wasn't the worst movie ever made.
That's true. I'll give you that. Yeah, Uwe Boll didn't get his hands on that one either. All right, so yeah, all right, guys, that's it for us today. We'll see you at any closing thoughts though.
Be seeing you.
Take care.
All right, guys, see you later.